Peoples, good afternoon. It is Monday, March 11th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. I'm on a YouTube platform on Al Jazeera English channel. As you can see from the title and the description, Israel's culture annihilation of Gaza. So I'm going to play some of this. We're going to do a reaction video of sorts. We're going to react to some of the information that's being said inside this video. And then I'm going to give my take on it at the end.
To understand the scale of destruction in Gaza today, one needs to understand the nature of the war Israel has launched against Palestinians. We're not talking about conventional warfare. This is a war of annihilation that targets the foundations of society. We've seen.
Now, I want to stop the video right here for a second, because as you pay close attention to what you're seeing, it's not just what's being said. I need you to actually pay attention to the images that you see, because an intellectual thinking individual will bring himself or herself to the conclusion that there's no way that you can be hunting or targeting an individual group, but yet inflict so much devastation. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up to making sense. And this is the problem. The devastation and destruction of infrastructure, the killing of innocent civilians, it does not match up to what it is that's being said about the military campaign and it being solely targeted towards what is being called the militant group Hamas, terrorist group Hamas. I do not hold the same sentiment for this group. I view them as freedom fighters. Hamas, the freedom fighters. So no matter what side you stand on as it relates to what Hamas is, your intellect should bring you to the conclusion that there's no way that you can be conducting a military campaign targeting a single group and cause so much destruction in the process. It just doesn't add up.
Universities bombed, libraries, museums. Israel is trying to prevent Palestinians from reclaiming and reestablishing life in Gaza as they knew it.
And it will absolutely do that, because when you see the destruction, when you see the rubble and people looking for loved ones underneath the rubble, and then to know that Israel doesn't allow construction crews to enter the city of Gaza. They don't allow such a thing, because they've said in the past that the group Hamas has been taking the construction tools and construction necessities and been using it for their own purposes. So they're saying that the dump trucks with the cement and all of this, whatever may have you, that is used for construction, constructing infrastructure, buildings, hospitals, all of these different things. They're saying that Hamas was using these things to build their own infrastructure. And so they stopped letting construction crews go inside the city of Gaza. So not only have you destroyed and annihilated this city, but the rebuilding of it won't happen unless you authorize it. And this is where we stand today.
My name is Jihad Abu Salim. I'm from the city of Deir al-Balah, located in the middle of the Gaza Strip. It's where I grew up and spent most of my life. Gaza City was the only Palestinian coastal city that was not conquered by Zionist militias in 1948. And that gave Gaza huge significance and placed it as the beating heart of preserving Palestinian nationalism and furthering the Palestinian cause for.
So it was the only place that wasn't colonialized in the 1940s. And so the place, Gaza, was actually sovereign in some aspects, probably in most aspects. And so there's a push and a pull in a lot of regions and a lot of countries around the world where you have policies and the viewpoints of the West and its allies, and then everyone else being on the opposing side. How is it 60% of the schools have been destroyed? 60%. So how are the children supposed to learn? Where will the children be taught? You know, this is something these are the questions that have to be asked. So not only is there a military campaign going on inside the city of Gaza, not only do you have the death and destruction that you have, but what about life moving forward? What about the children who are still living? What have they gone through since the beginning of this conflict? Does anyone care about the mental capacity of these children? Does anyone care?
By destroying universities, museums, libraries, and archives, Israel seeks to make our memory, whether it's collective, institutional, inaccessible. It's an assault on.
It's also a way for the Israelis and anyone else that chooses to do so, especially if they are in control of rebuilding Gaza. It is an opportunity for the colonialists, the racist regimes, the genocidal military of Israel. It is an opportunity for the Israeli government to change the narrative, to rewrite history. Because if you totally destroy a place and you destroy a people, then as time goes along and people live and die and things of this nature, you can begin to rewrite history in an aspect of rewriting it in a way where you just change things, change how things happen, change the amount of people that it happened to, even change the ownership of the land and everything in between. And so this is being done, and this has been conducted on many different levels.
Continuity. They want to force people out of Gaza, but also they want to make sure that if people return to Gaza, they find nothing. And
Exactly. That's what they want to ensure. That first and foremost, they want you dead and they want you gone. That's first and foremost. But if ever you just so happen to return, if ever you decide that you want to come back to that place, well, there will be nothing there. And the only thing that will be there is what they build of anew.
dwell for eternity in this limbo of nothingness, in this void. Gaza's old city, with its mosques like Al Umari or a church like the Church of Saint Boniface, testifies to Palestine's complex and multifaceted history. Al Umari Mosque is the second oldest mosque in Palestine after Al Aqsa Mosque. And from the footage that we've seen, it seems that the mosque was deliberately targeted because there are photos that show surrounding buildings standing intact, while the mosque has been bombed to smithereens. So Israel is trying to impose a rupture between the present and the past.
That goes back to the commentary, that goes back to my previous statements and so many of my previous videos. This is what you would categorize as war tactics. So you're creating scenarios to then ensure a certain outcome. And this is what you're doing. And this is what you've been doing since the beginning of the war. And this is what you'll continue to do. Even as the holy month of Ramadan has begun, you're still attacking civilians. You're still attacking praying Muslims, which is it's not just appalling. You understand? It's not just disrespectful. It's actually a violation and an act of war and aggression towards myself, towards you as well.
And of course, the future. And destroying an iconic structure like Al Umari Mosque is just part of that effort. The goal of targeting Gaza's archives is to make it impossible for people to rebuild and reclaim what has been lost. We not only lose historical documents, but also land deeds, land registration, infrastructure plans and schemes. Now we hear all these reports of people going back to their neighborhoods and being unable to recognize where the street that they lived on was located, where their homes.
And that's what I just said previously. You know, the whole landscape will change. And not only will the landscape change, but ownership of certain said land will change as well. And so those of you who previously owned land, own homes, own property, own whatever you own, you no longer own it. It's no longer yours. Through this military campaign, everything inside the city of Gaza will be seized. And the only way that it will be returned is if there's some type of diplomatic resolution to this situation where Palestinians actually gain control of Gaza again. But many people don't see that happening.
Where, and they think that by destroying institutions or archives or looting museums, they can destroy Gaza as a place and therefore prevent people from returning there or reestablishing their life.
And let me be clear. When I say that many people don't see that happening again, where Palestinians will be in control of Gaza again, that very well might not happen again. But what will absolutely not happen is that there will be a total annihilation or destruction, or Hamas, the freedom fighting group, will cease to exist. That right there, that statement, that thought is just preposterous. Is nothing that could be further from the truth, further from reality. As I keep saying to you in videos, and I will keep saying this to you, the military campaign, the definite destruction, it is ensuring the exact opposite. It is ensuring that Hamas, the freedom fighting group, it will never die. It will never cease to exist. It will always exist, and it will always thrive, especially in the hearts and the minds of Palestinians.
Gaza and its district have suffered a lot in terms of the targeting and destruction of historic and heritage sites. After 1967, after Gaza became under Israeli occupation, Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Dayan built an entire infamous career, in addition to being a war criminal, of looting artifacts from different parts of Gaza and Palestine and storing them in his own home. But also in the 1970s and 80s, Israeli forces, alongside Israeli archaeologists, looted a 4,500-year-old Canaanite cemetery.
You know, why am I not surprised? This is exactly what they do. Stealers and robbers, you know, all for financial gain. Just total disregard for history, total disregard for the sanctity of death, just total disregard.
Located in Deir al-Balah, my hometown, and they took anything they could carry to the Israel National Museum. And today I go on the internet and I see artifacts that were stolen and looted from the site being sold around the world. And that makes you wonder if Israel's practices today are a new phenomenon or just a continuation of a long-standing pattern of.
It's a continuation of something that has been used upon the Palestinian people for decades. This is all tactical, and it's a continuation. You understand? It is definitely a repeat cycle. It is definitely a continuation of what they've been doing to the Palestinians for decades in the form of oppression.
Destruction and looting of Palestinian history and culture. In this war alone, Palestinians in Gaza have lost towering figures in their society who shaped and defined the cultural and scholarly life in Gaza. And if there,
So it's not like you just killed, you know, these people were worthless people that you can say were casualties and they weren't worth anything. No, you actually killed people that not only had so much to offer to their own people, but had so much to offer to the world. And we're talking about people who were very, very high in knowledge, very, very educated. Those that could have led a whole world into a new world. And this is what you killed. And sadly, as I said before, there is no reconciliation to what you have done. There will be no reconciliation. The only reconciliation the Israelis will meet is death. Death is the only reconciliation for what you have done, for what you have taken. Death is the only thing that is satisfactory. Follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. At STREETICON1 on the X platform. At STREETICON8080 on the YouTube platform. Street Icon on all other social media platforms. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about the story that I presented to you guys today. I'm pretty sure that the whole world is privy to what's going on between Israel and Palestine. Drop a comment in the comment section and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe, peace. Good morning. It is Wednesday, March 6th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports, Trump's Gaza comments highlight tough choice for peace-supporting U.S. voters. Former president's rhetoric shows voters seeking to punish Joe Biden for backing Israel face dilemma in upcoming election. Donald Trump has voiced explicit backing for Israel's war on Gaza, suggesting that he supports the goal expressed by the hardline government in Tel Aviv of continuing the assault until total victory. Asked if he is on board with the way Israel was taking the fight to Gaza, the frontrunner for the Republican U.S. presidential nomination responded, "You've got to finish the problem." With Trump set to race incumbent Joe Biden, his words suggest that voters opposed to the United States support of Israel's war will face a dilemma in November's presidential election. So what's the dilemma? Is there a dilemma? Well, there clearly is. So people such as you and I, the average American citizen, the voters, there is a disconnect between our government and us at this moment. Our government has chosen to move in a direction that is away from the American people. And so this upcoming election was a chance for the American people to get rid of the individual who's been in a position of power for the last several years that has basically taken this country or driven this country into the ground. Now, on the flip side of that, as it relates to what's going on in Israel and Palestine, well, for Donald Trump to make statements as such, well, the American people have a choice to make, which is the dilemma. Because if he's going to support the continuation of Israel's military campaign in the Gaza Strip, then it is already known that that is overwhelmingly unpopular in the United States of America. So that is the dilemma right there. We obviously don't want Joe Biden and that administration in office anymore. This individual is at the end of his run. If you ask me, he's been at the end of his run, in my opinion, because of all the mistakes and things that he has come out and said that he had to ultimately walk back. And that might very well be a medical condition that he's going through. And so I don't even believe that that individual is capable of running the country for another term. And so now what you have is a clear dilemma, because now you have the individual on the other side that will be his opponent, who is clearly saying that he supports what's happening and he will support it continuing. And so for many of you that have sat back and said, you know what, I would much rather have Donald Trump in office rather than to go through another term with Joe Biden. Well, this is what you'll be going through. You'll be going through another term of the government and you and I being disconnected. We will go through another term of the government, the president, you and I, the average citizen, being disconnected, meaning that we don't agree. We overwhelmingly don't agree. And it seems like, the nature of those of us that, and it's overwhelming in the United States of America. It's overwhelming how people tend not to care when you begin to present opportunities to them. When you present opportunities or you present some type of financial gain to them, they tend not to care or look the other way about things that are very problematic that are going on around the world. And so what I mean by that is, you know, many of us that have been sitting back since Joe Biden has been in the presidency, we have watched this company, well, that might be actually accurate as well, but this country, that's actually a company, but we have watched it be diminished. We have watched the economy become eroded to this point where everything is astronomically high, and the pay and everything that you and I as average citizens are receiving from employment is astronomically low as it relates to the cost of living. And so I say that to say that many of us, including myself, because of the business mind and the business strategies and the understanding of business and economics, many of us would say that Donald Trump is a better pick, a better president as it relates to the country and economics. And to a certain degree, I could agree to that. But once again, this article is about the dilemma that we as voters face in November. Now, I've told you guys in previous videos that Joe Biden and the Biden administration would walk back its comments, its support for Israel, because this is an election year. And it very well knows that it's been disconnected. See, when you know that you're disconnected from the American people, you already know that when the election happens, you're going to lose, because you and the American people are not on the same page. You're doing the exact opposite of what the American people wants. So that was a dilemma all in itself. So I knew that Joe Biden and the Biden administration would eventually walk back their support for Israel. You couldn't keep supporting something that the whole world can clearly see is devastation, death, and destruction. So I knew that that would happen. But now you have former President Donald Trump releasing a statement basically saying that he is in support of Israel. And not only is he in support of Israel, but he is in support of a continued military campaign until they have reached total victory. That sounds like total genocide. And so one can only gather that if Donald Trump is elected, which many of us feel that he will be, he is 9 times out of 10 going to be the favorite in this election. And it would be very surprising if Joe Biden retains the presidency. So I've just laid out the dilemma that you and I face come this November. This is the dilemma that we face. One president is walking back his statements and his support for Israel and what's happening over there. And let me be clear, walking back and stopping your support now doesn't mean you're stopping your support forever. I believe that if Joe Biden wins the presidency, if he retains the presidency, he will reverse course. and give even more support to Israel. So even that, I believe, is a lie and a fluke. So this just confirms the position of the United States of America's government and the military industrial complex. In other geopolitical news, I'm on a YouTube platform. WRAL News reports Haiti declares state of emergency. 3,500 prisoners escape. Now, I seen this story a few days ago, and it was actually more prisoners than that. It said about 4,000 prisoners escaped. So, from my understanding, Haitian gang leaders and Haitian gangs have broken into the prisons and released thousands of prisoners. As a result, thousands of prisoners have escaped. Now, what I also understand is that some of the prisoners have actually decided to stay inside the prison out of fear for their lives, fear that, that they would be killed on sight when they are caught or captured, fear that, well, hopes that maybe their sentences would be commuted or reduced because they stayed in the prison. So there's a lot going on in Haiti right now, but this is actually a two-part segment that I'm doing. So I'm gonna play some of this video right here. Well, all of it. It's only 35 seconds. And then I'll switch to something else that basically gives further details as it relates to this situation.
Or streaming device. Haiti declaring a state of emergency after thousands of inmates escaped from one of its largest prisons. The declaration comes after more than 3,500 inmates escaped from Haiti's National Penitentiary in Port-au-Prince over the weekend. There were more than 3,600 prisoners housed in that facility. The remaining inmates are reportedly being moved to other facilities. The country has been experiencing a surge of violent gang activity for months, including kidnappings, murders, and violence against women and children. The U.S. Embassy now urging American citizens to leave Haiti.
BBC News also reports
security situation continues to deteriorate in Haiti. The country remains in a state of emergency, which was introduced after armed gangs freed nearly 4,000 prisoners from the capital's biggest jail. There are conflicting reports, too, on the whereabouts of the Haitian Prime Minister, Ariel Henry. The US State Department says it believes he's heading back to the country from talks in Nairobi. Well, earlier I spoke to the freelance journalist.
So the Prime Minister is not even in the country at the moment, and he's supposed to be headed back there. And so this is all weird. That's equivalent to, the United States hypothetically being overrun by militia groups from within the United States of America, and the president of the United States of America is not in the United States of America.
Journalist Harold Isaac, who's in Port-au-Prince, and he gave me his latest update.
Well, there's been reports of violence at the international airport or near it in the past few hours. Confrontation between legitimate forces and bandits allegedly trying to break into the perimeter of the international airport of Port-au-Prince.
Any indication why they would be targeting that?
I mean, that should be clear. Why would they be targeting the international airport? So that should be clear why they are targeting the international airport. They're targeting the international airport so that they control anything that goes and comes from the country. So the gangs are trying to completely seize Haiti in completion.
Do we know what the gang is planning?
Well, it has been rumored that the gangs were trying at all costs to get access to that very highly symbolic target, but it's unclear really what they're trying to make as a statement, besides showing perhaps the weakness of the Haitian state. But there's been violence and confrontations in the vicinity of the facility.
It gives a sense of the sort of feeling on the streets there. I mean, how safe is it still, even though these?
I mean, you see all of the weapons that they have. You see them loading up ammunition. It seems like they are preparing themselves for some type of an assault, some type of defense. It seems like they're preparing themselves for some type of campaign that they're either on or that they're expecting.
Gangs are running amok, as it were. I mean, are people in severe danger, or are they just targeting these symbolic targets?
Well, Haiti is in its second night of a curfew and state of emergency. People are still trying to reel with that reality. But they did, for the most part, expect the week to be disrupted, at least since Thursday, when the wave of violence from the gangs protesting Ariel Henry's trip to Kenya started.
You mentioned Ariel Henry there, the Prime Minister. Conflicting reports.
So the Prime Minister goes to Kenya, and I believe this is all about, Kenya making a pledge to send troops to Haiti to deal with the gangs. And, obviously, this would be something that is taken as an opposition. This is taken in serious opposition to those who live in Haiti at this present time, at this moment. And so for you to go to another country and seek assistance to come deal with the gangs that you feel are out of control in your very own country, one can take that as not only disrespectful, but it can be taken many ways. And almost as if you're giving someone of another country the green light to come and slaughter those in your country who they deem terroristic, who they deem undesirable. This is what you've done. And so I believe that this act was taken as an act of aggression against the Haitian people. I believe that the Prime Minister leaving and going to another country for that country to assist with dealing with the problem that's going on inside of Haiti, rather than going to the Haitian people and addressing their issues and their problems directly, I can only assume that this is very problematic. I can only assume that this is a very serious issue. And it's the same way in different parts of the world when you're dealing with colonialistic regimes and those who just do not and will not let their people uprise, be uplifted.
About his whereabouts as well. What do we know?
Well, we still don't know much actually about his whereabouts or where he currently is. There were several rumors as to when he'd be coming back to Haiti, but this has yet to be confirmed, and people are still waiting to know where he may show as the situation evolves.
So he's basically missing in action. It's basically what he is. So as a footnote, just to bring you guys up to speed as to what has just been reported today, Al Jazeera reports Haiti gang leader warns of genocide if prime minister returns. The gang leader behind an armed uprising in Haiti, while Prime Minister Ariel Henry is out of the country, has said there will be a civil war if Henry returns. Now, I've just laid out to you guys what's been going on in Haiti, what the gangs are doing, the breaking into the prisons and freeing all of the prisoners, well, most of the prisoners inside the prisons. And now this is an update as to the direction of which the gangs and the leaders have chosen to go. And so this is a statement, and this is what they're attesting that will happen if the prime minister returns. So they don't even want him to come back from wherever it is that he has gone. Now, I've just reported that he is going to Kenya to have meetings and talks about getting assistance for the problem with the gangs inside of Haiti. And so you can imagine that the gangs and all those who live in Haiti, who probably look up to the gangs, who are probably fed by the gangs because the government and the powers that be won't do such things. You can only imagine that these average people have a serious problem with this. So now I'm going to play this video. It's about 2 minutes and some odd long. I'm going to play it so you guys can get some context as to who this individual is and what's actually being said, or rather, what's actually the determination and the focus of the gangs. Al Jazeera reports. This is a live update. Russia-Ukraine war live. Explosions rock Odessa during Greek PM meeting. Prime Minister meets with President Zelensky, and there's explosions in Odessa. Zelensky says people were killed and injured in a Russian attack on the Black Sea port of Odessa, where he and Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos were meeting. Kyriakos, I believe that's how you say his name. So the Ukrainian president was meeting with the Greek prime minister, and Russia decided to attack either the place where they were or a surrounding area very close to where they were. And so this is a live update. And, you know, I've reported on the Russian-Ukraine war for many weeks now, and my sentiment has not changed, nor will it ever change. I believe that Ukraine is on a course to self-destruction. And why I say that is because of the issue that it has with Russia, and it seems not to want to try to end it or come to a compromise or a peaceful resolution. And so that's the complete reason why I say such a thing. And so I also am looking at the military campaign that's happening inside of Ukraine, and I'm looking at the death toll, and I'm looking at everything that's happening and surrounding it as it relates to President Zelensky having a hard time getting the aid that he needs for the military and other things. And so, you know, as you put a microscope to this situation, it only looks like there will be a complete failure on one side. And the United States of America, as Russia, and the president of Russia has already said they're only postponing the inevitable. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports China does not have the leverage to end the Red Sea crisis. The U.S. does. Contrary to U.S. claims, Chinese influence over Iran is limited, and it cannot help stop Houthi attacks. In the beginning of Israel's devastating war on Gaza, China appeared to be on the same page with its regional partners, Saudi Arabia and Iran, when it came to the big questions. All three condemned the Israeli aggression, called for a negotiated settlement addressing Palestinian grievances, and held conferences and summits together to express their collective opposition to the conflict. But the Houthi attacks on shipping routes in the Red Sea have upset this consensus, as Iran officially denies any direct involvement despite its unquestionable close relationship with the Houthis, and Saudi Arabia remains strategically quiet after the end of its protracted and costly conflict with the armed group. Beijing finds itself in an awkward position. So, you know, it's almost as clear as day. Who can actually stop anyone from protecting their brothers and sisters if they feel it is their outright duty to do such a thing? So yes, there is an agreement. Yes, there is peace. Yes, there is agreements and peace treaties and things of that nature. But when you're dealing with something of such a devastating, horrific nature, who can dictate how one responds to it? And so, yeah, Iran is definitely going to stay out of it. and Saudi Arabia is not going to get involved. So yeah, China is actually on its own as it relates to negotiating some type of stoppage to what's happening in the Red Sea, but that can't happen, and it won't happen. And China won't even try because they understand what's at stake. So yeah, you can say the US is the only ones that can accomplish this task, but that's absolutely not true. And there's only one real way that this task can be accomplished, and that's if Israel stops doing what it's doing in Palestine and in the Gaza Strip. That is basically the end to what's happening in the Red Sea. So if Israel stops its military campaign in the Gaza Strip, then the attacks on the Red Sea will stop. That should be clear to everyone around the world and everyone that's paying attention and watching this conflict unfold. The attacks that's happening in the Red Sea are of consequence. They are of consequence, and they are of a retaliation and a response to what's happening in Palestine and in the Gaza Strip. If you haven't done so already, follow Street Icon on all social media platforms. At STREETICON1 on the X platform, at StreetIcon8080 on the YouTube platform, and Street Icon on all other social media platforms. Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know how you feel about the stories that I brought to you guys today. How specifically do they make you feel? Did you know about them? Drop a comment in the comment section, and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe, peace.